All right, we're live. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So my name is Mohammed Faisal. I'm one of the chief examiners over here at Nafi. Today, the date is June 17th, 2025. The time is 10:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have amongst us Hamza Afzal. He will be going through his RQF Level 6, EduQual Level 6 qualification exam for Diploma in Artificial Intelligence operations for healthcare applications. The topic is pretty wide. There are three core objectives in how to implement. Just give me 1 minute. Let me connect this to another internet. Just give me 1 minute. Just let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
So the topic is like there are three core objectives: implement continuous security monitoring using AI tools to detect and prevent breaches in healthcare applications. That's one. Automated incident response. That's two. And ensures compliance with healthcare regulations like HIPAA and GDPR while securing sensitive patient data. There are there are 5 to 6 key areas of focus. There's a DevOps angle, there's a SysOps angle, there's an AI angle, there's a cybersecurity, GRC, and cloud security, right? You will be given minimum 15, maximum up to 25 minutes to go through the presentation, inshallah. Okay. Once you have completed the presentation, then I will ask a series of questions covering each and every topic that you're going through, making sure we go through the presentation in adequate fashion, inshallah. The topic is pretty good. It's pretty demandable right now, in high demand, so on and so forth. Healthcare is one of the industries in the world where they're always in demand, right? And they're always compromised because there's a lot of data that they hold, and non-state and state actors primarily target these institutions a lot, wherever there is customer data, like credit card companies, financial organizations, and healthcare. These are the two primary sectors, financial and healthcare sector, where they keep a lot of consumer related data, right? So wherever there's a repository of data, they're always in the crosshairs of basically uh, state and non-state malicious actors. Inshallah. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You may share your screen. Once you're ready, let me know, and then I will start the timer, and then we will proceed from there. Okay. Should we start?
1 minute, sir. I'm checking things up. I think we can start before it creates a problem. Can I start?
Can you go to the second? Can you go to the second screen? Just show me. It's loading very slow. Okay, you can go back to the first one. All right, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. You may start now. Proceed.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hamza Afzal, and I'm here to present my topic of level 6. Before I start, I would like to extend my thanks to Nafi and Mr. Faisal for providing us the guidance where we are not sure where to choose the path. Thank you very much for this opportunity and guidance. I'd like to start my presentation of AI-powered continuous security monitoring and automated incident response for healthcare applications. So we will talk about here is the agenda for today's presentation. We will talk about the problem statement. We will talk about the 5 pillars, or we say DevOps, SysOps, AI, and cybersecurity, and GRC and cloud security for the topic. The problem statement that we are here for is we have to implement continuous security monitoring using AI tools to prevent and detect breaches in healthcare. We have to automate the incident response to ensure fast and effective mitigation. And we have to ensure compliance like HIPAA and GDPR while securing sensitive patient data. Here is the DevOps pillar for this title. In DevOps, we have to automate the deployment pipelines with built-in security checks for healthcare applications. Our developer commits the code to GitHub. It will not only pass through the Rebel or traditional CI/CD pipeline, but we have integrated some security checks which make sure that before going into the production, it passes through some security checks. So some of the security checks are not limited to them can be SAST, SCA, image scanning, or secret scanning, and so on and so forth. On the successful passing of those tests, the build will be successful, and then it will be staged to staging and can further move to production. On an unsuccessful build or unsuccessful passing of the security stage, the developer will be notified and the code must be fixed before going to production. This makes sure that we have, before going to the production, our security before going to production is made intact. Next pillar, we have SysOps, in which we have to use AWS GuardDuty for continuous security monitoring. Once our application is deployed and we started receiving logs in AWS CloudTrail, so our AWS GuardDuty continuously monitors the logs for infrastructure level threats. For example, who was the action taker, what was the action taker, when was the action taker, and so on. Based on that, AWS GuardDuty detects some anomalies using its ML model and intelligence threats. Based on that, it gives us the score. After the score is given, we may need to remediate that incident, or we may need to give some response to that event. To do that, we have integrated Event Bridge into those two services, which connects between the two and triggers the Lambda function based on the severity score. We have divided the severity between high, medium, and low, and based on that, we may take the appropriate action based on that event. Next, we have applied machine learning models to predict and prevent potential data breaches in healthcare systems. Here, we will be using SageMaker. ML model would be RCF, random cut forest model, which is an unsupervised machine learning model, which we can use. For the sake of this presentation, I took the RCF model, which detects the anomalies using the normal user behavior pattern, and it detects the anomaly using that. The ML SageMaker model may take the input from CloudTrail, CloudWatch, and GuardDuty findings. We may not be able to directly ingest those logs or entries to SageMaker model because they are in different formats. So we may need to data normalize those entries using Lambda or any other process. After that, the process remains the same. We have identified the anomaly. We may need to remediate that response or that incident that has been taken upon. For that, we would be doing the auto remediation via Lambda, and we would be sending an alert to the analyst, or based on the severity, we would be responding. Next, we have cybersecurity pillar. We have to make sure that the data in data at rest and data in encryption are both in transit are both encrypted. According to HIPAA, we make sure that the data that is being stored at rest or the data that is being in transit must be encrypted. For that compliance, for the sake of that compliance, we would be using AWS KMS. And if we follow the Azure, we could extend this goal to take the Azure key vault to encrypt the data at rest. To make sure that the data in transit is encrypted, we would be using TLS configurations. We will also make sure that the key access is only restricted to those people, who only authorized people, to make sure the least privilege access policy of HIPAA and GDPR. Next, we have GRC. We have to make sure that our compliance audits, we have to automate the compliance audit to ensure the adherence to HIPAA and GDPR standards for healthcare applications. Here, in AWS config, we are given two options to write the rules. Either we can use the AWS native config rules, or we can use our customized rules. Based on that, we would be using the customized rules, which are not which AWS config cannot mark as compliant or non-compliant. For that reason, we would be invoking and integrating a Lambda function with this, which will be responsible for marking those resources as compliant or non-compliant. AWS config works as it continuously monitors the resources based on the rule set. Here, I could extend this or illustrate this with an example of S3 being unencrypted. AWS config will monitor those resources, and any configuration drift, it will be triggered, and it will compare it with those rules. And as we are using customized rules here, it would call upon a Lambda function that would that will compare with the rules and will mark it as compliant or non-compliant, and then the Lambda function will return back the update to AWS config, which will then update its dashboard on the AWS config console. Next up, we have cloud security. Here, we are tasked to protect the resources from DDoS attacks primarily. To protect L3 and L4 attacks, we would be using AWS Shield here, which is configured to protect the resources at L3 and L4. Here, AWS Shield is divided into two of its nature, we can say, or two of its packages: AWS Shield Standard and AWS Shield Advanced. AWS Shield Standard is limited to a lot of things which we can talk about here, but the main in enterprise systems, AWS Shield Advanced is recommended because it is compliant with HIPAA, and it has much more features than just AWS Shield Standard. So here in AWS Shield Advanced, if there is a DDoS attack, not only in AWS Shield Advanced, we have a DDoS team through which we can talk and which we can access them. It also operates at AWS resources such as ALF or those cloud and those kind of resources where it does not allow us to let the attack penetrate at your application level. Plus, if we have associated a scaling group here with if there is a auto scaling happen due to this DDoS attack, we also have the option that we can ask for reimbursement of those attacks. Plus, AWS Shield Advanced give us here a detailed description and detail about the attacks and all those. Plus, we can also integrate AWS Web to operate the detection at L7 here. This is how we would be protecting our AWS. We will be using AWS Shield to protect our healthcare data with DDoS attacks primarily. Next, we have architectural diagram. On the left, you can see that there is a DevOps pillar. On the top notch, you can see that there is a continuous monitoring of CloudTrail logs, ingested into guard duty, and guard duty defining its detecting its score, which further goes into event bridge, and then auto remediation may take place. On the second row, you may see that we are applying a machine learning model to ingest the logs, and then machine learning model works upon the detecting application level threats and detecting the severity, and then auto remediation may take place. Up next, we have AWS config here again. It works again as we discussed earlier. It is used to evaluate the AWS resources against compliance rules here. And one thing I would like, while I was studying AWS config, I came upon a point that AWS config is just used for detecting. However, its competitor Azure policy not only detects but also enforce the policies that gives it an extra edge if we talk about that point. Plus, for the DDoS attacks, here we have mainly AWS Shield Protection Advanced, which will be used to detect the DDoS attacks here. We can also integrate Azure Security Center for Protection here, which is primarily used for the posture management, or security posture management of its. We can integrate it with AWS, Azure, and GCP, and it gives a unified place to see all those in a unified place. It also recommends some of its purposes are that it tells about the configuration drifts, policy enforcements, and then it tells about security recommendations here. Up next, we have lastly, in this architecture, we have AWS KMS, which will be used to encrypt the data according to HIPAA and GDPR. We cannot store the data of PHI or PII at rest unencrypted, and if there is a data breach there, it may lead to serious loss for ransomware or so on and so forth. So what we do is we do integrate it with AWS KMS and Key Vault. We use AWS KMS in the AWS architecture, and we can extend it to Azure Key Vault if we extend this to Azure. Plus, we also make sure that the communication in transit is also encrypted. We do that by TLS configuration 1.3 here. And so that is how the complete architecture is. So for example, we take an example of S3 being unencrypted. We talk about the case studies here. For example, if S3 gets unencrypted over here, so on our third row, AWS config will continuously monitor it, and it will evaluate it, and it will not go unattended. It will be marked as non-compliant. And further, we can extend it to Lambda, which can further involve the analyst to come in, hop in, and mark and take the necessary actions. That is the full architecture, yet simplified, explained here. And I hope I have completed my presentation here.
Okay. So let's jump. You can stop the sharing of the screen, please. Okay. Can you? Okay, that's good. All right, let's start the Q&A. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So what is the main objective of continuous security monitoring in healthcare applications? What's the main objective?
So the main objective is that we, as according to HIPAA and GDPR, we have to inform about the incident within, according to HIPAA, in 62 hours, and according to GDPR, I'm not sure of the dates, but one is 62 hours, and I'm confusing with the hours, but there's a timeline. So we have to inform inform about the clients in that date. So based on the continuous monitoring, we make sure that we are known about the incidents before prehand, so that we can inform and take the necessary actions. And thus, we don't go into so much penetration or lateral movements, you can say, that it gets into from one point to another, and it penetrates into all of our architecture.
Okay. Never quote a time frame because you don't need a time frame per se. Don't say hours, no. Like 24 hours, 48, 38 hours. Like it depends on the discretion of the senior management, right? When do they want to announce how big? Because it always takes time for the senior management and for the technical management to figure out like how far have we been compromised, right? It doesn't work like this. So there sometimes it takes 1 or 2 weeks to 3 weeks. But once you have established that yes, the compromise has happened, then you go in and then you do inform the authorities, right? The authorities needs to be informed when you have established conclusively that yes, a compromise has been has been experienced by the system. Okay, so which AWS services are used for continuous security monitoring as mentioned in your presentation, and why?
So we will be using AWS Guard Duty primarily, and for threats such as infrastructure level threats. And we would be using AWS SageMaker for application level threats, and we would be using AWS config for compliance level checks.
Okay. Explain how a CI/CD pipeline in DevOps integrate with security monitoring in the healthcare deployment model. How would you do that?
So can you repeat your question?
Just give me 1 minute. So explain to me how a CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous deployment, development in DevOps integrate with the security monitoring in the healthcare deployment model. What would you do? At a CI/CD level, what would you do to integrate security monitoring into the application code?
Yes, so we would be integrating security checks in the CI/CD pipeline. We would be integrating SaaS test. We would be integrating secret checking, and we would be checking about SCA, and we would be checking policy enforcement. We will be checking DAST, and we can also extend it to image and container scanning.
Good job, mashallah. Okay, good job. Okay. Have you started applying for jobs?
Yes, I am in premature state of applying to jobs at the moment.
Okay. Have you started doing the Al Razak part 1 and part 2?
Yes, I am on it. Currently, I'm thinking on to extend to that.
You have to do the labs because if you do the labs, especially the open source labs that we released in the month of June. In the month of July, all the containerization labs, all the labs for QB astronaut, QB golden astronaut, and Dockers will be released. There's a lot of labs coming in July, almost 1,000, right?
Yeah.
They can essentially do minimum 3 hours a day, 30 days a week. It's going to be 90 hours, right? 90 hours is more than enough to do all the 1,000 labs. Like some of the labs are very small, some of the labs take time, but you'll be able to do all of them, and that will conclusively prepare you. Okay, so you got to do all of those things. Okay, so describe how an event severity levels, like high, medium, low, influence the response workflow in AWS Guard Duty.
So we have integrated, so AWS Guard Duty detects the anomaly score based on the severity. We have integrated event bridge, which will be which will be calling the relevant Lambda function based on the severity. So if we have a high severity event, the relevant Lambda function will be called, and if it's a medium or low severity, we would be calling the relevant Lambda function to call and taking the incident response, such as logging into S3 for future training and analysis purpose.
Good. So what happens at high? What happens at high? If there's a high, what happens?
So at high, we would be extending it to at the moment temporary actions must be taken automatically, and we can also extend it to alert the analyst team so that it validates that if an attack was not a false positive, and we can then extend it to permanent of those actions.
Okay. So high means immediate Lambda actions and alerting. What does medium means?
Medium, it depends upon the severity, that what kind of, if there is a medium severity, we may have we may also alert to the SOC team or analyst team and to take action, that if it was what kind of event or what kind of severity it was based on, that we can take actions. But
Okay.
on high severity, we need immediate to take actions.
What does low means? What happens in the low in the event bridge? Like
Low means that we can use it to train and just for the to pass it to the S3 to store the logs for future for further training or analysis.
how did you do the preparation of this exam?
By AI tools mostly.
Good job, mashallah. Okay, that's good. Because you have to prepare yourself for the interviews, right? When you go for the interviews, they will be asking you lots and lots of questions in terms of making sure that you know the subject matter, right? So when you apply for the job, this is what we're doing. Our Al Razak labs are based on job descriptions, right? So it analyzes the jobs and then it creates labs and then it gives it to you with the container so that you can execute, perform, so that when you go for the interview, you're already conditioned. You already know everything that needs to be delivered, right? Okay, if you have to design a custom Lambda function logic that can dynamically respond to guard duty whenever there's a high severity level for a given container on Kubernetes, running a healthcare application, how would you do that? Yeah, I'm not going to ask you, show me the code. I'm going to ask you, walk me through how would you design that script on Python? So you can use a paper and pencil and say, okay, you know, how to write the code, like it says definition, lambda handler, event, and context. Then we say, if the event is this, then do this, do this. I'm just giving you an example. Explain to me how would you do that?
Can you break your question so that I can answer it?
Okay.
break your question.
Yeah, sure. Have you played with Lambda functions yet?
Sorry,
Have you played with Lambda functions?
I've just studied them verbally, but I haven't
This
did
is
hands.
why Al-Razak needs to be done, right? Because we give you all the scripting, the bash scripting, the Python scripts and everything, right, in there. You have to do that. So define to me, how would you write, right? A Lambda function logic in Python that can dynamically respond to guard duty for alerting you for high severity events happening on a container application.
So guard duty will be detecting us a severity score of, let's say, 9, 8, 7, 6, and so on and so forth. Based on that score, we can further this logic to break down that if it's a high severity, like if it's a high severity 9 or 8, we can take an action, immediate action, or if there is a severity score of 8 to 6, we can take that action. So it will be a series of if statements. We can integrate if pseudocode is from telling in a pseudo logic, and then we can apply it in our Lambda function based on that if logic. If severity score is this, take that action, do this. If there is a severity score of 7 to 4, or on the range of that, we will take that action. So that is how we can use the Lambda function.
Okay. If you have to hypothesize the failure path for AWS guard duty, where it is disabled due to permission misconfigurations, what solution would you suggest?
So as we are working we are not working in a
This
one
is
level
related
secure.
to this is related to anomaly detection, your topic, right? So
Yes. So
it happens all the time within the app, code development. Even we have to experience it. And that's why it is very important to run all the scripts properly. Make sure you keep an eye on any kind of anomaly, right? So hypothesize the failure path of AWS guard duty, which is disabled due to misconfigurations. What solution
so
would you suggest to
as we are not
have
only relying on
prevent this?
yes. As we are not only relying on AWS guard duty, we have a layered security architecture. So we have also integrated AWS SageMaker. So if guard duty fails, AWS SageMaker it will not bypass SageMaker. Let's say will not be hypothesizing that SageMaker as well gets failed or something like that, but SageMaker will detect that breach, and it will give it severity or a severity score if AWS guard duty fails.
Hamza, Afzal, listen to me very well, okay? Pay attention and do the Al Razak labs and pass your QB astronaut exam. You will become a
Yes,
very excellent SysOps engineer and DevOps engineer, inshallah. Okay?
yes,
Do the labs, pay attention. And
yes.
just in the open source labs, it covers 1,000, almost 1,000 labs, right? And it will prepare you for everything which is coming towards you, and you'll be much more better prepared, right? So this is why I'm telling you, do this thing, and may Allah give you more success, inshallah. Okay, so you mentioned SageMaker. Okay, let's jump into the SageMaker. Explain how to use a custom SageMaker machine learning model to classify logs as malicious or being, or benign in real time. Something we are doing right now. We're using different kinds of three. So we use a multimodal approach. So there are three different models that we are using. How would you do that?
So as in my architecture, based on my architecture, I leveraged a random cut forest model, which is just an anomaly detection algorithm, you can say. But we can extend it to a we can extend this problem to a algorithm where it classifies into what kind of breach it was and so on and so forth. But for this architecture, I was using RCF model, which is primarily for anomaly detection. But we can use any other model. We can train it on historical logs, and then we can use the feedback loop and retraining cycles if there is any false positive, or that can detect anomaly detections or classify. But it mainly depends upon that what you are training your algorithm with. So
Okay. The question was, custom SageMaker model training, right? You have to use the model by using historical cloud trail logs, deploy a model as an endpoint, collect the logs, push the logs over there on a syslog server, and then run the syslog server to make sure that the logs are correlated, normalized, harmonized, all of those things are done. And then AI will come in and will start reviewing and consuming the logs. We got half a point for that, but it was okay. But obviously, this is the task that we have made you do in the labs because this is the real task that organizations are asking for. Okay, so there's always a limitation of everything, right? If you have to evaluate the limitations of using AI models, train on a centralized log, hospital data, in your case, and what are the, what are the limitations for the AI model?
so AI, the some of the limitations can be that AI is very resource intensive. It must be used on GPU resources. One of the limitations are this. Another is that there can be it can detect false positives, and then it need to be retrained. That takes a lot of it takes up a lot of feedback loop to retrain it. And what else? Some of the other limitations of using AI.
What I was looking for is like, these models may suffer from data drift, lack
Yes,
of
I did answer.
lack of contextual features. The context is
Data
very
drift.
important, right?
I did
Uh,
answer that there can be a false positive, and then we would be
yes,
retraining feedback.
yes. And reduce the generalization. Sometimes AI, what it does is start generalizing the data, right? So it's better to use a federated learning approach where to preserve the patterns and the privacy, and then also keep on. This is the reason we use three different models. We don't even use one model. So we use one model, and the output of that model is then reviewed by the second model. And then the second model is the output of the first model that it reviewed. It provides its own output saying, yes, was it right or wrong or whatever. Then the third model reviews that as well. So there's a three-stage layer. I call it the three-stage gate process. Internally, we devised this ourselves, right? This is the Albari solution. So it runs on three different models. We are now introducing the fourth one, which is so two proprietary and two open source. That makes it four, right? So right now there are two proprietary, one is open source. We are adding a fourth layer, another open source, right? So when you go for interviews, this is what they're looking for. Okay, let's jump on. So What are the potential blind spots when combining automated incident response with AI predicted threat prioritization? What are
Can
the
you repeat?
So what are the
Can you-
potential security issues or blind spots when combining automated incident response with AI predicted threat prioritization?
So one of the blind spot is that AI can detect false positives, and then the incident response will take place. But we also added a validation factor there that needs to be validated that whether that attack was that detection was not a false positive. Then we can validate that. So that is one.
False positives one, what's the other? I need at least three.
Yeah.
This is a very common thing, biasness. Bias in the model training could
Yes.
overlook your attack vectors, right? What's the third one? It happens in the software development. Race conditions, where multiple automated responses execute conflicting actions. This is a very important question. You have to pay attention to this one because you will be seeing this in your interview questions. Okay, given the architecture, this is the final question. Given the architecture in the presentation, how would you implement real-time cross-cloud AI data-driven compliance drift detection that synchronizes the GRC across AWS, Azure, GCP, all of them?
So one of the thing we can do is we can the only thing that could improve is that we can integrate Azure Sentinel in our architecture, which has the capability of ingesting the logs from guard duty and all those. And then we can so primarily the only thing that I would do in this architecture, which is possible, is to integrate Azure Sentinel and to do that.
Okay. What else? What else is there?
And
Okay.
And we can, as we know that each of the resources, we can do federated identity management in there as well. And then we can also use Azure Security Center, which is used to detect
I'm asking you with respect to your presentation. So I'm going
yes,
to give you,
yes.
if I look at you, I'm looking at a presentation. So one of the things is collect compliance matrix using AWS and config and Azure policy. Stream real-time updates to Kafka cluster because you have to do that, right? In a large way, drift detection, synchronization. Using a federated machine learning model to detect drift patterns as we discussed above. And alert and synchronize using centralized dashboards and a shared event bus, event bridge, or Azure Event Grid to seamlessly review the data, right? They
To
can be more.
unify the Yes,
Go
to
ahead.
unify the logs, we will be using Azure Sentinel. That is,
Yes. Basically, it's like unified monitoring for unified monitoring purposes. Okay, we have your scores. Would you like to know?
yes, okay.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the presentation, you scored 20 out of 25. There was few things missing, but it was good, mashallah. You scored 80%. Okay. In the Q&A, you scored 19 out of 25, right? Which is 76%, right? So 80 plus 76 makes you are at 78%. That's your score. MashaAllah, that's good. You've passed your exam. This is my recommendation for you. Okay. I'm looking at your resume.
Yes.
Uh, So where is it? Sorry. Hold on. So you started studying with us. It mentions July, right? First of 2024 January, right? That's the time which is mentioned here. I don't know, like in your resume, right? So you have to start building up all of those things. Certain projects you have done. You have mentioned some of the junior DevOps, right? Remote. So this is what is missing. Uh, you need to do the labs. The labs will prepare you in a better light, inshallah, and take you further. So that's one thing you have to do. The second part is you have to focus on the core integration framework, where we are giving you the labs for as the AI ops. It covers all the core domains. If I have to show you the domains, let me show you that. So as part of the AI ops, you will be doing AI and ML labs, right? This is predictive system, intelligent automation. You can see on the screen, this is what you'll be doing, right? This is the Al Razak labs for you in terms of making sure that you cover all of that. Second thing is, as part of the AI ops, you will also get cybersecurity labs as well. The EDR, endpoint detection, integration, red teaming, blue teaming, all of those through infusion of AI models. And the third one is going to be cloud and big data labs with Hadoop, Spark, Kubernetes, AI orchestration, and everything, right? So that's one thing you will get. As part of the AI ops, you will also get Al Razak labs on 22 domains, 22, right? Those 22 domains covers all the key areas and key aspects that you need to master before you can go for your exam, for your interviews, right? Because the employers will be asking you for that. If I have to show you that, then these are all the domains you have to pay attention to, right? This is very important for you to do the Al Razak because that will give you the confidence you need to basically pass the interviews. The essential skills, all of these 22 domains are covered as part of Al Razak Part 2, right? Domains on AI and machine learning, you will have that. DevOps and CI/CD pipeline. This is something that we'll be releasing in July. Cloud computing will be coming later on as well. Infrastructure as a code is coming in July. Linux and open source has already been given, covering all the qualifications of Red Hat. You know how many qualifications of there are for Red Hat? If I say Red Hat certifications, right? It covers all the job descriptions, covering all of these qualifications, all of these, you see? All of these. There are altogether 50 plus certifications. All of them are covered with labs, hands-on labs. You click on it, you see the container, you start working on it. And we are now about to give you the labs for QB, Kubernetes, and Golden QB Astronaut, right? So that's another thing that we are about to release, right? So if I say QB Astronaut, this is the CNCF, right? And QB Golden Astronaut, right? So this is the new program that they have started, and we are giving you access to all the labs in July. In the month of July, you will get access to all of these. This is QB Astronaut, right? These are the QB Astronaut ones, right? And this one is QB Golden Astronaut. It covers these five, but then it also covers KCSA, PCA, IC, PCA, ICA, CCA, CAPA, all of them are covered in there, right? So it prepares you completely. Our students are completing all of these programs. If you just go for this, the bundle is $2,990. And we are not only giving you the labs covering the exams, but also the job description. So you have to do all of those things. right? This is very important for you. If you cover all of that, you with the hands-on labs and everything, you're set, inshallah. So this is already given. Python programming is coming. Containerization, Docker is coming in July. Kubernetes and orchestration is coming in July. Then in August, we will release cybersecurity in Python and all the other ones. So slowly and gradually, you will get access to all of these labs in the next 10 months because it's a big program. If you do all of those things, you are good, inshallah. You can crack any interview, you can go anywhere you want to, and you will be able to work there as well, inshallah. Okay, so that's one thing you have to focus on. This is very, very important for you. The other thing I'm going to tell you to do is basically the preparation and going for the exams. So pass some of the Kubernetes exams. That will help you. But before you do that, even if you complete the Al-Razak, you'll be able to secure the job, inshallah. Once you have once you start earning, then you can go towards building up yourself. So I'm going to ask you something. You did your degree, Bachelor's of Science, Electrical and Computer Engineering, right? In 2021, from 2016 to 2021. What was the job landscape? What was happening?
The job landscape in Pakistan was not for engineering side mostly, or there was, but the curriculum that they taught us was not up to the mark to land a job. There were some sort of jobs, but we weren't like we don't have that exposure primarily to know that what we are studying we can implement it in real time. We were just like we were taught those stuff primarily as theory, and then we don't know what to do. And then afterwards, there were no jobs, which
So what
which
happened to all of your
or
classmates? Where are they right now? What are they doing? They're all struggling?
yes, yes, they all are struggling. Some of them moved from computer engineering to software engineering. They were good in software. All of them, one after another, moved to software side. So I think primarily there was a lack of exposure, which we don't have initially at university level, which was the initial root cause for the not getting a right job.
This is the reason that, I mean, degrees are important, but they only are as good as a good piece of paper. Unfortunately, they don't prepare you for the real marketplace. And there's a huge students base, which is like building up and up and up. And students are still struggling to find better jobs, right? My recommendation to you, Hamza Afzal, is you did good, mashallah. It's easy. But my recommendation to you is to go and complete the Al Razak labs. They're very important for you. Even if you do 2 months, you'll be able to secure a better job. You'll be able to do all the, because we are not only providing you the containers, but the AI is there to validate your actions if you're doing the right or wrong or whatever, right? And slowly and gradually, we are increasing the intensity of the labs. These are beginners labs. Like even if you get the beginners lab of QB astronaut or QB golden astronaut, and if you pass them, you can go and pass any interview and secure a better job, inshallah. Right? There's a new job portal we are about to launch, inshallah, in August, September. And we will be offering our graduates positions up into Middle East, primarily in Saudi Arabia and in UAE, predominantly. I have a meeting this coming Thursday with a Saudi investor from one of the biggest group over there, right? It comes in the top 10 companies in Saudi Arabia. And they want people, as part of the 2030 vision, they want people to be available to basically work in different fields like DevOps and AI, cybersecurity, quantum computing, nanotechnology, all of these disciplines that I showed you, right? All of these disciplines, right? AI, semiconductor chip design. This is where like space technology, space tech is another one, energy systems, all of these areas, right? So we are working with them, but we will only recommend the students who have completed Al Razak, right? So you have to do Al Razak.
Yes.
And we can lead you
Yes.
till there. You can earn from 10,000 reals to upwards of 25,000 reals, depending on how good you are. And some of these qualifications like QB astronaut and QB golden astronaut. QB astronaut, if you do it, you can earn 15 to 20,000 Saudi riyal per month. It's good. You can maintain a very good lifestyle in Saudi Arabia. If you become golden astronaut, you can go upward of 25 to 35,000 Saudi riyal. Again, that's a good salary, right? Uh, and then from there, you can make your way towards the Western countries, inshallah. This is my recommendation for you. Congratulations in terms of passing the exam. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Jazakallah khair again. Our team will be reaching out to you. I'll be submitting your results. In the next 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you will receive your diploma. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the academic operations team.
Sorry, I'm just coming up with a question. Can I have the breakdown of the of my scoring in Q&A?
Yes, you will get if you want that.
Because I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the scoring.
Yeah. So in all the questions, in the first 4 questions, you scored 2.5 full marks. In the fifth one, you scored 1. Sixth question, 2.5. So whatever I'm written here, it will go on your report, right? So you will get everything, inshallah. Seventh question, 1.5. You missed 1 point. Eighth question, you got 2. 9, you got 1. 10th, you got 1 because you were not able to answer all the options, right? I always do a very generous marking and I stick to the
Yes.
subject. I try my level best. I'm not here to fail anyone. I'm here to assess and I'm here to assist them in terms of getting successful. We won't be taking exams anymore. Slowly and gradually, everything will go towards MCQs because we will be focusing on the labs, right? So the labs will become part of your examination evaluation. So prior to coming into this meeting, I was already sitting there and I was discussing these things with the academic operations team and the digital transformation team. So they will be working there. We are already working on that, right? So mashallah, congratulations. You did good, mashallah. It's good score. It's merit.
But I have to apply for scholarships in USA, so I need to have some really good scores, like 85 plus, to apply there because they won't give scholarships, fully funded scholarships that are scoring like it's below 80%. So I
What was the
need
GPA? What was the GPA over there in your degree?
no, my GPA was 2.84. I didn't score too much, but right now I'm aiming to get a scholarship in USA, fully funded scholarship. But for that, the student, the candidate needs to have above than 3.5 to get a fully funded scholarship. So for that, I was targeting something like that, but unfortunately, I was not able to get it, I think.
All right, so let's do this. There is another part of your exam as well, the MCQs. We have to look into those results as well, right? Let me review the score and we will get back to you what the next steps are. We will look at your, because this is just part 2 of the exam. There's part 1 of the exam as well, right? So cumulatively and collectively, they will build up those things. The grading we give is pass or merit, right? That's what we give. The grading is as per the, some of the students they applied. I can tell you one thing. If you want to apply for scholarship in the States, it's a bad idea right now. Wait for another
Yes,
1.5 year. Wait for 1.5 year until the primary elections take place in US. And if Donald Trump is there by that time, then you can possibly think about it. But like I would suggest you to go to UK or go
yes,
to Germany or France or some of these Scandinavian countries. Even Australia is a good option, right? If you have the right skills, you can even break grounds in Australia as well, in New Zealand. In my view, sorry. In my view, there are different options you have. You have to look into which option is good for you, right? As far as your scores are concerned, they will be reevaluated and will be tested to see where you land, inshallah.
Yeah, I'll be grateful for that. Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, inshallah. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us through the proper channels. Jazakallah khair again. Hope to see you and hear from you soon, inshallah, regarding that you have secured the job, inshallah. Okay? Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.